Joining me is California's Democratic Governor Jerry Brown. Governor Brown, thank you so much for joining us. Let's talk a little bit about where we are as the fall campaign begins. We just got another pretty lackluster jobs report. It was a lot lower, the job creation, than folks thought it would be. Can President Obama lose this election?
Well, obviously, anybody can lose or win an election. These things are not absolutely determined, and this is a close election. But I would say the contrast and the difference is reasonably clear. Romney almost reminds me of Thomas Dewey, and I was rather young, but I remember that campaign, and he symbolized the wealthy East, and then Truman was fighting more for the common man. Now, I'm not trying to compare Obama with Truman, but I do think he represents and he expresses more of the ordinary American and the struggles that the ordinary American is going through, and his plan of focusing on jobs and investment and building things like roads and bridges contrasts with Romney, who, if you look at his jobs plan, is essentially lower the taxes on the rich even further, despite the fact that the very wealthy have doubled their share of the American income over the last 30 years.
But what I want to talk to you about is when you looked over the course of the 3 days of the Democratic Convention, did you hear a compelling case for why the next 4 years would create a better job production, if you will, than the first 4 years?
I look at this thing in a contrast, and since I've been not only run for president, but have been a governor, you know, I'm now in my 10th year, finishing my 10th year. So I know about this story about jobs. Jobs are a function of many things: the world economy, monetary policies, taxation, investments, all sorts of things. What I heard at the Republican Party is mostly bashing the president and talking about how they're going to, you know, lower taxes, which primarily going to help the very wealthiest. Now, when I heard with President Clinton, with President Obama, with Michelle, a real commitment to build the stuff that makes America. We're not going to just by giving somebody a tax break that they can invest in Macau or China or the Cayman Islands. That's different than investing in more teachers and more policemen or high-speed rail or the kind of things that takes government. And yes, government does need some revenue. So I do think in terms of the jobs that are going to put Americans to work, I heard a difference between the Democratic Convention and the Republican.
But did you hear within the Democratic Convention, is my question, within the Democratic Convention, did you hear a compelling case for why Americans should believe that the second 4 years will somehow produce more jobs than the first 4 years?
Well, maybe I know too much about this stuff, but we're in a recovery, a slow recovery, and it'll keep recovering with any luck. And if the Republicans would get out of the way and let you know, the stimulus and the investment go forward, such as the Democrats have proposed, we'll be better off. The opposite is to have faith in this supply side stuff where you lower the taxes on those who are doing very well. And they always say, well, it'll be on everybody, but it's always disproportionate on those who have the capital. But I'm telling you, that money, where a lot of these corporate profits go now, is offshore. And the biggest bang is to invest in our teachers, you know, in ordinary workers, in bridges and roads, in the kind of projects that, and I think that's the theme. Now, I'm not looking for a blueprint or some kind of recipe. It's thematic. That's the way elections are decided. Both, how do you feel about the two candidates, and what is the theme? And I say the theme is a very honest guy who's trying to do his best after picking up a horrible mess from the last guy.
That certainly was also the theme of the Democratic Convention.